be desensitizing Castor from the fence. So we did a little bit of this before. It's been probably a year about now. And then I did a little bit in a couple videos ago where I've just was standing on a little mounting block. And we've done other mounting block stuff too. I like to do the fence specifically and separately. So I think the fence gets you a little higher up than the mounting block. You can be more maneuverable and reach around a lot more. I can basically completely sit on them and hold on to the fence at the same time. And I can also desensitize just more in general because I do have that body control, and then the panel is moving a little bit, you're making a lot of noise, it just kind of adds to it. So you can tell he's a little bit tense here, his neck's up, he's not completely comfortable with what's going on. He's not horrible, but it is important to note that there is some tension in there. He is still willing to take a treat and hang out here. And so that's why that side pass up to me is super important. You've seen me do it a million times, but I like this because then I can just hop right down and it's not a big deal and he can leave if he'd like. So I really like this setup that I have. And I'm just rewarding him for different things. So basically just standing here, but maybe petting on one side versus the other. I want him to reach around and grab that treat. See, he's a little scared there. So looking back on this now, I wouldn't have asked him to reach and take that treat from the other side because of his body language, because he seemed pretty tight. So usually that's something that worries them quite a bit. Um, and he got worried and he wanted to move. He does improve a lot the second time. He looks much better. But I didn't punish him or anything when he did move. He just kind of stepped to the side and he could leave. So I would have gone about that differently and gone about that slower. But it's a good example that it's okay if he wants to stand and or if he needs to move, that's totally fine. I'm gonna let him move. I'm gonna hop down, give him a second, and try again. So no big deals. We're not rushing anything. It's not a big deal. So lots of petting, lots of rubbing on him, and it's springtime at this point, and I'm just kind of getting a lot of hair off of him. But I like that I can be completely over him. He can see me out of both eyes. Just gives me a really good vantage point to work with him from. So I really like this. I would like his head and neck to be more level. See, he's more tense and kind of coming back. And he's moving a little bit. He's kind of stepping away from the fence. So all of those are signs that he's not super comfortable. So I just want to take those into account. I want to see if I can ask him to come back. That was perfect. He actually came over while I was on the fence, so that's fantastic. It's also important to do a lot of desensitizing from getting off and dismounting because I like to jump off, and if there was something to happen, I'm going to jump off. So I don't want them to become more afraid when I do jump off and then we just compound the situation. So I want to practice that now, and it can be a little scary if I step off the fence and it makes noise. So I just want to make sure all of that's working. But I wish he did have a lower headset and his neck was more horizontal. I don't like that his head's so high and that he's doing that reaching there. I should be feeding him lower because I don't want to reward that because I'm rewarding the place that his neck is at um, when I'm feeding him there. So I should have fed him probably in that like second rung from the top on the panel instead, kind of help get his head down. So he's not ready for me to like sit on him at this point. Like he's clearly showing that. I want this headset when I'm above him. But you can see as soon as I go up there, it comes up a little bit, and then it's not bad, but it's something we should check into. I am liking how he's doing with that taking the treat from the other side. And there he's like, not so sure about that. That's alright, I'll let him leave if he'd like. Let's see if he can maybe do the other side. So he didn't want to come up while I was on the panel, that's alright. So I'm just going to step off and see if he can kind of side pass up to the panel from the ground. There we go. And he's just a little worried about it. That's why he's moving away. He's not standing stationary. All those are just signs that he's not super comfortable with what's going on. So he doesn't have to like buck and kick and bite me to show you that he's uncomfortable. At that point, you should have seen the signs, and he's way over threshold at that point. But that's why I want to point out these things. It's not perfect, but it's a good learning experience to say, hey, look, these are the things to look out for, that it's not going super well at this point. So, I mean, I like that he's come up to the panels again. I should have given him a treat for that. But this is a good choice as far as staying on the ground and just petting on him and getting him more relaxed before I try mounting and see how his head come up as soon as I went up there. But he is offering that head bend to kind of, if I was going to give him a treat, he would take it. So that is a good sign. But I should have just worked on kind of getting up and then getting down from the panel and working on that part because he is pretty tense at this point. But this is one of the actual like formal training sessions of me doing this, so he doesn't have a lot of experience with it. We have a long ways to go. And I'm also taking advantage of the fact that he is shedding out, so I can kind of brush him all over and I can smack my hands together and make all kinds of noise. See, he's got some tension there. He wanted to kind of spin around and go on the other side. And part of that's tension, part of that is I did a lot more work on that other side and I rewarded him a lot more on that other side, so he wants to go back to there. But I love this, just kind of working on some easy ground stuff and working on standing kind of behind him to the side, working on kind of touching his tail and his rump there because he had a little bit of tension with doing that in the past too.